Ladies and gentlemen, please adjust your scorecards. We have a special guest in the lineup.
So we're here with Erik Mertens, one of the best friends of the show. And Erik, I'm going to be honest, this is not coffee in my Vigilant Longhorn cup. It is the beer from the previous segment because that sucked.
What was the previous segment about college basketball?
No, it was the Holler and the Swaller segment, and I just figured we're going to keep it going. Yeah, between you and Gonzaga and then the high school baseball coach at my school being like, no, you should really watch these Longhorns. They're great.
Yeah. And then, I was rooting for you the whole way. I was watching that game. I'm sorry.
But Gonzaga, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, though. Are they the only team to go wire-to-wire undefeated in NCAA history?
Not in history, no. There's been a handful of teams.
Okay.
In fact, and I'm going to sound like a fool, I don't know college basketball as well as I know minor league baseball. But I know a little bit. I think the Indiana Hoosiers were like the first team or the last team to go undefeated all the way through the national championship.
Okay.
And so that's the storyline, is that, hey, we have a team now in Gonzaga, go Zags, that could do the same thing in Indiana. That's kind of the cool storyline. But our game just finished. Our second round game just got done, and my mom and I were watching it together, and we were sweating, and I forgot how nerve-wracking these things are.
It's so weird because I am not your basketball fan, and I'll be honest, I was relatively over it about 15 minutes afterwards. I think you responded to the tweet where I was like, holy shit, am I like just what? I mean, but you can't beat it for drama in the last couple of minutes. You just can't.
Your heartbeat races like it does in postseason baseball.
Yeah.
I love baseball because you don't have a freaking heart attack every game, and it's a little bit more relaxing with your buddies or your family.
Yeah.
College basketball is not that. It is not relaxing. Even when your team and your alma mater and your employer, like mine, Gonzaga University, usually wins by 20 points, it's different than a relaxing baseball game, that's for sure.
Why? I know you said you're not the expert, but it seems to me, as a passive viewer, that there do seem to be are there more upsets this year? Or is it just because I was on the receiving end of one?
Yeah.
Does it just feel that way?
No, I think there are. I don't know the stats, of course. I'm more of a fan than, a stats guy. But I was like, oh, my gosh, all these double-seeded teams are knocking off these high-seeded teams. That's why I'm kind of nervous, This is the best Zags team we've had, I think, ever. And we have the longest-running Sweet 16 streak in the nation. All those haters that say Gonzaga always leaves early is like, well, obviously not. We make it
no.
to the Sweet 16 for the – anyway, I won't get into that. But you're not wrong. I think there have been more upsets this year. Yeah. And
it definitely seems that way. My very best friend on the planet is a graduate of Ohio State.
Ooh.
And it was just – he's like, the worst parts were the laughing stock. And I was like, well, would like to move over and we can be – but Illinois lost, so there you go.
Yeah.
You and I think we've talked about this a bunch, and I will tell you that all of your appearances on the show, we always get a few people that will message me and say, I feel much better about the world after you and Erik talking.
Oh, wow.
It feels like it's turning around, right? Like as far as the baseball world goes and COVID goes.
Yeah. Hope has played, just the concept of hope has played a huge part in my spirituality in my life. I work in ministry at Gonzaga, so that's interconnected. This has been a rough year and a half to hope, not going to lie. But you're right. I think the past few months, at least for me personally, it's been easier to. And I start my workday every morning with a Zoom meeting with my coworkers, which sounds worse than it actually is, but I'm zoomed out. But we pray together. And the other day, my buddy Daniel, for our morning prayer, just put up a picture of the sunrise and played the song "Here Comes the Sun," and it was like this recognition of it's springtime, it's spring training. Well, he doesn't care about spring training, but it's there is hope around the corner, and I think we're on our way.
Yeah, I think for me, my wife and I are fortunate to have both been vaccinated, and
Right.
we had what I didn't know about a part of this epic birthday week my wife threw for me, um, a surprise dinner with her mom, and they got to hug for the first time in a year, and it was just I didn't even recognize how big that moment was going to be until it happened, and then just real. And they are very close, and so I remember yelling at her, Jessica's mom, because we had brought the grandkids over, and I'm taking this good picture of her great grandson, and I look over and I'm like, "What are you doing? You can't be here!" Like,
Yeah.
A, my shot's better, and B, there's poison. To
Yep.
see them hug was such a big deal.
That I can't even imagine that. So I've thought about this a few times. I'm actually at my mom's house right now. I usually have all my minor league baseball hats lined up behind me, but I live in Spokane for most of the year, and then in the summers I come down to the Tri-Cities, my hometown, a few hours away, and work for the Dust Devils, and that's where my mom lives. My dad passed away about 4 years ago, and today's his birthday, so I want to say happy birthday to my dad, and happy birthday to you, Jim. Good time of the year for a birthday. And she's fully vaccinated, and I've had one of my shots. Thank God.
Thank God.
Yeah, it's a huge gift, and I don't take that for granted. I know you don't either. But we did get to hug. We did get to hug on my dad's birthday, in the house that he and she shared for decades. So that was very emotional. I will tell you though, I'm kind of nervous. I'm kind of nervous about the baseball season, only because my favorite thing to do at the ballpark, and I've done it for 20 years or 19 up until last year, is I stand at the front gate and I welcome every single fan as they come through. And there's high fives and there's hugs and there's handshakes, and see the kids and see the old season ticket holders who've been there forever. And I know for a fact some people are going to want to come in for that hug, and I'm not sure if we're ready for that as a society. I don't know. I'm a hugger, but I'm also very safe, and I want to keep people safe. So I think there'll be a lot of air fives.
I think there'll be a lot of air fives at first. It's interesting you bring that up, and I love how this conversation's already off the rails, like all of our conversations are. But
Sorry.
One of my very best friends, the OSU grad, when Fauci said he didn't want to see handshakes anymore, like ever, right?
Oh,
he's like, yeah, because I guess at the end of the day, right? Like you are, but he said, I think the last thing we need to do is make it even harder for men to express themselves with levels of physical affection. If we're going to remove the handshake, what is there? But
right.
I think I really feel like we're going to hit July 4th.
Yep.
And it's going to start to feel like it used to feel again.
I can't wait. I sure hope so. I bought tickets to the Missoula Paddleheads for July 2nd. And I know there's some people from the online baseball community who are all going to be there as well. So I sure hope so. I sure hope that's the time frame. I've been told by our general manager of the Dust Devils that, they're still figuring things out in the front office about protocols and safety. And the whole state of Washington just entered phase 3, which I know every state has different phases,
sure,
with colors and numbers. So people are like, what the hell does that mean? Phase 3, great. But I think what that means, what I think I heard, was that outdoor sporting stadiums and fields and arenas can have 25% capacity.
Oh, great.
And don't quote me on that, but I think that's what I heard. And so they're working out all the details. And I know there's teams around the country who've done such a great job with keeping people safe at the ball game. So he doesn't know if my role will be what it always has been. I go up and down the steps and sell peanuts in the crowd. I'm giving high fives. I'm on the field, emceeing the in-between innings contests. I might just have to stay in a bubble the whole time, or in a kiosk and do my calling from there. We don't know, but we're going to go with it, and it'll be great. It'll be fun.
It's going to be great. Have you thought about what, for me, there are certain rituals of the ball game that mean the most. The anthem is kind of my quiet time, right? To reflect on lots of things that I've been fortunate to get from this country. And, obviously the anthem means a lot of things to a lot of people, and I respect what it means to everyone. Even if it's not such a positive experience, but for me, it's that, that 30 or 40 seconds where I feel at peace. And sometimes it's the only place I feel at peace. Have you thought about what some of those first rituals of baseball are going to mean to you when they finally happen?
What a great question. That might have been the best question I've heard in a long time. For me, I love visiting new ballparks. I love going to Geisa Stadium in the Tri-Cities. And for me, the moment that my heart opens up and it feels like Christmas morning plus Easter combined is when I walk through the tunnel and see the field open up for the first time. And there are some ballparks, like the Spokane Indians ballpark, they have literal tunnels and they're pretty long. And you walk through and then you just see this thing, and you see the mountains. In the Tri-Cities, we are in wide open country. We're big sky country, just west of Montana, but big sky country. And so things are more open. And so for me, seeing the sky and seeing the rolling hills and the Columbia River, when I kind of crest, there's this part of the ballpark where it's not really a tunnel, but you crest it and you see it all lay out in front of you. And it feels like I can breathe easier. It feels like my heart starts glowing. So for me, that's what it is. I'm glad you brought up the national anthem though, because, and I just have to keep bringing up my dad. Today's his day. I love him so much. I miss him so much. Russell Wilson was the Dust Devils' second baseman in 2010. And we're big Seahawks fans around here, so everyone loves Russell Wilson, and the Dust Devils are proud that we had him first. But his dad passed away right before he came to the Tri-Cities. He was drafted by the Rockies, came to Tri-Cities. And there's this great article in The Athletic where he said that year, it was the first year without his dad. He was on the other side of the country, didn't know anybody. During the national anthem, he would look out past the outfield fence, and again, you can see these rolling desert hills in the Tri-City. And he would imagine his dad being on those hills looking back at him. And so during the national anthem, that was his quiet time where he reconnected with his dad and would pray and connect with God, and then he'd be ready to play the game. And so I read that last year. That article just kind of came out recently. And so for me now, before every Dust Devils game during the anthem, I look out at those same hills. I remember what Russell Wilson said. I think of my own dad. And yeah, it's a very spiritual experience. And I'm really looking forward to getting back to that.
I am too. I think it's funny that you and I share one of the same moments. Sometimes when it's just Jessica and I together, she will cover my eyes. And so I get it all at once.
Oh gosh.
And she will sometimes it's awkward about it. She'll have to walk me up, but she will, because you're right. You're not going to get, it's like your first love. You're not going to get that moment back again. Yeah, I don't even know how to really quantify. I remember getting to go to the Round Rock when they had moved. So for last year, the Express became the Harrymen in a collegiate summer league.
That's right.
And,
I love those hats.
they're fantastic. I'll get you one. You're
hey.
good. Don't you worry. Because you've been there, so it counts.
That's right. Thank you. Thanks for remembering.
It counts. So we're at the ball game, and there was just the moment where I saw Jessica with a smile on her face, and she's like, "I just forgot how much I missed being here." And I do think it's why we get romantic about it.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. There's last summer was unlike any summer for any of us. The absence though of baseball hit me harder than I thought it would, and it wasn't just the game. Again, I'm not a stats guy. I could care less about runs and pitch counts and stuff like that. But just that pastoral side of the game of baseball and the romanticism, the spirituality, the fact that your wife covers your eyes so that you could see it all at the same time. That's what we missed. Yeah, and God bless the athletes, and they did miss the runs and the years of service and everything else. But that, yeah, that's going to be the most healing element, is when you crest that tunnel for the first time and see the field, or you put your hand on your heart for the national anthem. Yeah, I cannot wait, and I'm very excited that you will be coming to experience that in the Tri-Cities this year.
I, for one, can't wait. He is Erik Mertens, Erik the Peanut Guy. It's Erik Mertens on Twitter. Follow him. You will not be disappointed. And we're going to have you back. First of all, yeah, go Zags.
Go Zags!